Okay, don't disappear. Let's record. All of a sudden, this. Okay, it's the top of the hour. I want to get on. We've got a lot more people that should be here in person and on Zoom. I think, but I don't want to make you guys wait. You're here, right? I mean, we've got Missouri represented. We got New York on there. Good to see you guys. I like your backdrop, Steve. Sorry, you guys can't see this.
Thank you.
Time to do that. Okay, we're gonna get started. We have Stacy and Sean Catmull here. The lending company. I love that new name. This is a brand new company. You're gonna talk a little bit about that, right? Right? Yeah. Oh, come on. Okay, that's why I brought it up, because they're here to talk about manifesting your dreams, vision boards, all that kind of stuff. They're probably not gonna say shit about their company.
We actually won't say that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you won't say shit, but you won't.
No, we definitely won't say shit about it.
No, but I mean, they're amazing lenders. I wanted to keep that in mind too. They're going to come up here and share some great stuff with you, but I don't want that to go by the wayside. The lending company, I love the way you told us about it, TLC. It's a great acronym, right? Ronnie, how are you guys? Good. So we're going to get started. The lending company, they're presenting this. The last time this was registered, remember we canceled?
Yeah.
I was actually glad because I was in Mexico.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I wanted to be here in person for it. So it worked out really good for me. So sorry about all you guys that didn't care about that, but okay. So who's up first? You can come up together. So Stacy Catmull, come on up, finish your introduction. While you're doing that, I'm gonna try and share the screen.
Okay.
And I say try because I mess it up a lot.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I'm Stacy Catmull. This is my husband, Sean Catmull. This is Jackson Catmull. And we are Team Catmull. So we're really happy to be here today. I've known Lynn for years, right? We were gym rats together back in the day, every morning at 5 a.m. And Lynn still goes at 5 a.m. and I don't.
Really hard to do.
It was really hard. Yeah, we did it anyway. So, but at that time I wasn't in mortgage and I didn't even know what Lynn did, but we have reconnected in the industry, and it's been really fun. So Sean and our background is actually in multi-level marketing. So we built a business in multi-level marketing. By the time Sean was 30, he was at the top of the company. And we spent about 10 years flying around doing trainings and just really enjoying our life. And then some things happened and we ended up selling that business, and we were looking for something new and something different. And my neighbor owned a mortgage company, so he was looking for a recruiter. And I thought, well, if I can do multi-level marketing, I can recruit loan officers. That'll be really easy. But it was a big transition into a market that I didn't really know anything about. We did really well there. We had a ton of success. I moved to another mortgage company, got a really great offer. Sean and Jackson both joined me in the business a couple of years ago. And now we have actually opened our own brokerage. It's called the Lending Company. So we are mortgage brokers. Mortgage brokers give you a lot of freedom in the products that they can offer and the rates. Instead of being loyal to a bank or to our company, we get to be loyal to our clients. So we work with 36 different lenders. We can shop the right lender. If you need to close really fast, we have a lender that can close in 7 to 10 days. If you are more concerned about rates, then we have lenders that maybe take 21 days to close, but their rates are a little bit better. So we really can make the product work for your person. We're not loyal to the bank. So that's something that we really love about being a broker. We have a lot of control. And now that we have our own company, we have even more control, and we really love that. So that's basically us. We were supposed to come back in January. And, these are the types of things that you always want to hear in January, right? Because everybody's so excited about goals and resolutions. But I actually think that right now is perfect, because I feel like we're kind of in a different place than we were in January. In January, we're coming off of 2020, rates were still super low. We had hope that there was going to be more inventory. And now instead, rates have gone up, inventory is almost non-existent, and things have gotten hard. And so only 8% of people keep their New Year's resolutions. So you're probably maybe at a point where you're you've forgotten what your New Year's resolution was, or, you might kind of be feeling a little bit discouraged because of the things that are happening in the market. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun today, just kind of, refreshing that that motivation, renewing our imaginations and the things that we really care about and the people that we really are. So before I get into that, I want to talk, how do I change here we go. Okay. So before we get into that, I just want to talk a little bit about a key that I found when I first got started in the industry. So like I said, I came into the industry and I was I didn't know even, I had a mortgage. I was like the girl that was like, I don't know what it means, but I'll just sign the papers because Sean says they're good. And then I was supposed to come in and I was supposed to reach out to these top level loan officers and I was supposed to convince them to join our company. But I didn't know anything about loans. I didn't know anything about mortgage. And every morning I would wake up and I just would have like these butterflies in my stomach. And I would get up and I'd be like, okay, let's go. I gotta do it, right? And I would go into the office with a big smile on my face and I would be excited and I'm so excited, I'm so excited, I'm so excited. I would just say all the time. And eventually, like we started having success. So I didn't really know. People would ask me like, so what are you doing to have the success? Because we were having like incredible success. And the first thing we were doing that was really important that I just want to touch on is we always gave value, right? And Sean and I, we have built our business off of value. We don't ever go to a realtor partner and ask for deals. We go to a realtor partner and we bring value to the partners that we work with. It's really, really important to us. We feel an obligation to bring business to our realtors as much as we hope that they bring business to us. We work off true partnerships and value. So that was one thing, and that's just a side note, right? Value is so important. But the second thing was this. So I came across this story and I was trying to figure out like why I had so much success. And I came across this story and I'm just going to kind of summarize it for you. But it told me what it was that I was doing right. So there was a baseball player, his name was Frank Becker, and he played professional baseball in 1907. And he was making $175 a week, and he was playing for Johnstown, Pennsylvania. And one day he came back in from his game and his boss said to him, he says, I'm firing you. I'm firing you because you're lazy. He said, you drag yourself around the field like a veteran who's been playing ball for 20 years. Why do you act that way if you're not lazy? And Frank said, I'm so nervous. I'm so scared that I want to hide my fear from the crowd and especially from the other players on the team. Have you ever done that? Have you never not given it your all because you're just afraid you're going to fail and you want if you give it your all and you fail, then it's like, I'm a failure, right? You feel so bad about yourself. And that's how he felt. He says, so I hope that if I take it easy, then I'll get rid of my nervousness. And Frank, he said, it will never work. That's the thing that is holding you down. Whatever you do after you leave here, for heaven's sake, wake yourself up and put some life and enthusiasm into your work. So he had been making $175 a month at Johnstown. And after being fired, he went down to Chester and he was paid $25 a month. He wasn't enthusiastic about that. He began to act enthusiastic. He was given an opportunity to try out for a team in Connecticut, and he made up his mind to be the most enthusiastic player that they had ever seen. And he went out on the field and he acted, in his words, he acted like a man electrified, as though he was alive with a million batteries. Did it work? It worked like magic. And here are 3 things that happened. His enthusiasm overcame his fear. And this is what worked for me. I was so scared, but I kept saying, I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited, right? And I overcame my fear with my enthusiasm. His nervousness began to work for him and he played better than he ever thought he was capable of playing. His enthusiasm began to affect the other players on the team and they became more enthusiastic, which was something that happened for me too, right? Because I was so excited, they became excited and we built this culture that was just absolutely amazing. And because we had this great culture and everybody was excited, more people wanted to join us. And then the third thing was that he felt better than he had ever felt before. The next morning, he was sent in the paper to have had a barrel of enthusiasm. Not only that, but he inspired the other players and the team looked better than they ever had before. The paper started calling him Pet Becker, the life of the team. Within 10 days, his enthusiasm took him from $25 a month to $185 a month, and it increased his income by 700%. Nothing but the determination to act enthusiastic. He didn't learn how to play baseball better. All he did was act enthusiastic. And for me, I feel like there's a couple things to our success. We have value. We're enthusiastic, right? We act enthusiastic. We are excited about what's happening and what's going on in our business, in the industry, in the world. even when the world sucks, we're excited about it, right? So the other thing is, and then the other thing is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about manifesting. So enthusiasm, this is just something so simple you can do. Like if manifesting is not your thing, or meditation, or all this, stuff that we talk about today, if there's one thing you can do is that if you don't feel enthusiastic, act enthusiastic. Double your enthusiasm and you'll double your income. It's super easy. So let's get into the presentation. So Buddha says, what you think you become, what you feel you attract, and what you imagine you create. So there's basically 3 steps to manifestation, right? So the first is our thoughts. The second is our feelings. And the feelings is such an important part of it. And then the third is the imagination. So we're going to talk a little bit about all 3 of these things today. So I've been reading this book by Joe Dispenza. Anybody know Joe Dispenza? He's super deep, like really scientific, but everything that he does is completely backed by science. So the book I've been reading is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And there are definitely things that I like about myself, right? Like, I mean, we all have things that like we know that we're good at. But there are a lot of things that I'm like, oh, like if I could just, if I could just change that, then everything, like my whole life would be so much easier. And so I really like the idea of breaking the habit of being yourself. And I kind of think of it like every morning I wake up. So I actually am like a chronic worrier. And it's one of the habits that I'm trying to break about myself. And right now, I have a daughter who's in Greece, and I worry about her dying every day. And right now, I wake up in the morning, and the first thing I think of is Emma alive, and I check Messenger, and I make sure that she's been active in the last couple of hours, and then I know she's alive, and then I'm okay. But what a horrible way to start the day, right? That is definitely a habit that I need to break, and I'm really working on it. So, but when you wake up in the morning, it's like when your mind is the most clear. It's really, I think, the time where you're most who you are. Like I think of Lynn. Lynn, what do you think of? Like, what do you think of when you wake up in the morning?
What do I think of?
Yeah, what do you think about? Like, what's your first thought in the morning?
Say me.
Jen. Oh yeah, Jen. That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Well, for me, that I want to get a really good workout in and have a great day, have a great attitude, bring value to people. It's all about the energy that I have for the day. And I know that if I start off right, then I can give more to others, right?
Right, exactly. So can you guys see that in Lynn's life? That's how she wakes up in the morning. The first thing she's thinking of is like, I can't wait to start this day. I got to get up. Like she's not thinking, oh my gosh, I do not want to work today. Or, oh my gosh, like how am I going to get through the day? This day is going to be so hard. The market's so tough. It's important. And the reason why Lynn thinks that is because she's actually trained her brain to think that way. And so we all can train our brains to think whatever we want. And that's the thing that's really great about this is that all of us can break the habit of being ourselves, but it takes work and it takes intention. So let's go here and let's talk just a little bit of brain 101. And all of this stuff is, it's all stuff that I've just started studying. So I'm by no means an expert, but I wanted to talk about it today because I know that when I talk about it, I learn it better, right? So let's talk about neural pathways. So you have a connection between your neurons and it lights up every time you think about it, right? Have you guys heard that before? And you study this actually a lot. Like if you study addiction, like they talk about the neural pathways. So every time you think of a new thought, and I think of like a baby, right? When that baby takes their first step, can't you just see that pathway lighting up? They're just like, oh my gosh, I can do this. Like, this is amazing, right? Or when you have like this brilliant idea and you just are like, oh my gosh, this is a brilliant idea. But the thing is like, but it's not only lighting up when you think those good thoughts, it's also lighting up when you're thinking the negative thoughts, right? And so what happens is your brain attaches meaning to that specific pattern, right? To that connection. And then when you think of that thing, then the pattern, it lights up again. And so the more you think about it, the more it lights up. And so your new thoughts have a lesser pathway, but your dominant thoughts have these deep pathways, right? That are really hard to break. And so 95% of who you are by the time you're 35. So if you're not 35 yet, you guys have a chance. So get busy.
There's hope.
That's right. So 95% of who you are by the time you are 35 years old is memorized behaviors and emotional reactions that create and identify subconsciously. So 5% of your subconscious mind, the 5% that's really awake, is constantly working against that 95% that you've memorized subconsciously. So trying to change your emotional patterns, it's literally like going through withdrawal. Because your brain, like if you're not the type that's got that pattern, like I'm going to get up and work out, right? If you're the type that's like, I'm going to create that new pattern, I'm going to get up and work out, then what happens? It's a new pattern for you. So your old pattern is like, no, the bed is super warm. Like I need more sleep. I went to bed really late last night. Like I'll work out later, I'll do that later. And so you're fighting against that 95%. So that might be discouraging, right? For a lot of us, we might think, well, how am I ever going to break that pattern of being myself? But what I just want to tell you right here is that it's possible to break the pattern, but you have to be intentional about it. It's not something that you can just say, oh, I'm going to start working out tomorrow. And then you actually start working out tomorrow. Like it's an intentional process that you have to engage in order to be able to actually break that pattern and start a new thought pattern in your brain. But it's completely possible. Anybody can do it. So, you hear people that say, oh, I'm just a negative person, or I'm just this, or I'm just that, or I'm just this. Like, it's not true. Like the only reason you're that way is because you've trained yourself to be that way, but you can undo that training just like you trained yourself. So I really like knowing that. For me, that's really important, because also then when I have like a failure, when I'm like, oh, dang, I didn't do that, I can be kind to myself and say, yeah, but this is really hard to do. Like, it's really hard to do it. So don't beat yourself up, just keep trying. So this is what I love about thoughts. So we talked about the three things, right? You have your thoughts, you have your feelings, and then you have your imagination. So if 95% of our day we are unconscious, then wouldn't it be important that 5% is like, that's really, really precious, important time, right? So it says, if we truly embrace the notion that our thoughts produce tangible effects in our life, wouldn't we strive to never let one thought slip that we didn't want to experience? And wouldn't we focus our attention on what we want instead of our problems? And I love this right here. Would you ever waste a thought if you understood what they create? And they do. That is what they create. Let's see. So why wouldn't you opt for living the future of your choice now ahead of time, instead of obsessing about a traumatic, stressful event that you fear is in your future based on your past experience? Obsess about a new desired experience. And I love that, right? That's what we should be obsessing about. Not all the things that can go wrong, not all the things that happened in the past. We should be obsessing about the experiences that we want. And when we start obsessing in that way, that's when we start to manifest, right? So, and I love this too, because I think this is another little like quick tip that if you, like, these are just things you can change, right? It says, if we always relive the same old experience, we can't experience new ones. So if every single day you're doing the exact same thing, like just in your patterns, every single day you're doing the exact same thing, then you're not having new experiences and you're not changing those thought patterns in your mind. And just by doing small little things differently every single day, we can start to change those thought patterns in our brain. Take a different route to work. You're changing a pattern in your brain, right? Instead of running on the treadmill, go to a class, changing the pattern in your brain, right? Instead of, eating breakfast before you do your hair, like do your hair first, but like just little things like that can make a difference. And it helps to snap us out of those memorized subconscious thoughts. And so that's just something that you can do that's really, really easy. So the next thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about the feelings, right? So the feelings, when it comes to manifestation, the feelings are incredibly important. Like you can't just have a thought, you have to feel what you want, and you have to feel what it's going to feel like when you get there. And so I hope you guys will bear with me, because we're going to do a meditation, and it feels really cheesy if you don't do meditations, but we're going to do it anyway. I told Jeff I should have brought my candles and my aromatherapy, but I didn't.
Dim the lights, please.
That's right, dim the lights. But if everybody closes their eyes, then nobody.
Is this your video?
Yes, then nobody will be looking at anyone, so you can feel comfortable, you can feel safe, and it's only 10 minutes. So if you hate it, actually, if you hate it, just do it anyway. Because I was going to say, think about something else, but that's your old pattern, right? Your old pattern is, I don't do this kind of stuff. I don't meditate. I don't do this kind of stuff. It doesn't work. It's hogwash. But instead, do something different with your brain and and let's focus in on this meditation. It's a really, like I said, it's a really short, simple one.
Can you guys on Zoom see the video?
You don't need to see it because your eyes are going to be closed.
Oh. Hopefully I shared the audio.
Yeah, hopefully you can hear it. That's the most important part.
Let
So
your
go ahead.
spine grow tall and straight. Roll your shoulders back slightly to open up your heart. Place your palms in your lap, facing upwards. And whenever you're ready, lovingly close your eyes. Begin by allowing all of your awareness to center in on your breath. Without judging it or trying to change it for now, just notice it, paying attention to how it feels as it enters and exits your body. Becoming curious about what muscles you are engaging as you breathe. Extending your awareness to noticing the feeling of gravity on your body. Using this awareness to drop into your body in this present moment. And now, on your next inhale, allow your stomach to expand fully as you breathe in deeply. Ribcage expands, and you hold your breath at the top. And as it feels right to you, exhale with a sigh. At the bottom of this breath, just return to breathing at a pace that's comfortable for you, stomach expanding as you breathe in, and contracting as you breathe out. Throughout the course of this meditation, you begin to see yourself standing on a trail. Before you, the trail splits into 5 different pathways. Going from left to right, we will number the trails as 1 through 5. Trail 1 on your left shows you the version of you in the future. That is as if you just stayed exactly the same as you are now. You see that version of you smiling and waving at you. Let yourself become aware of that version. This should be easy to do as they are exactly as you are right now. You may even see them in the clothes you are wearing in this very moment. Regardless of how much you desire change, let yourself lovingly wave back at them, feeling grateful that they are here, appreciating where you are right now. And with that appreciation, you allow your awareness to turn to path number 2. Here you see a version of yourself who has made one small alteration to their life. What is this small change that they made? Perhaps it's a tiny change you've been thinking of doing. How does this change affect their life? How does it affect their appearance, their personality, or the successes that they have? Let yourself see this version of you clearly. See them smiling and waving at you as you smile and wave back. And now on path 3, the middle path, the one directly before you. You see a version of you who has made several small changes. Nothing too big, but enough to make a difference on their life. What do they look like? What changes have they made? Perhaps they've achieved goals that you've had in mind for a long time. See them smiling and waving at you. As you smile and wave back. And now, on the fourth path, you see the version of you that has reached the goals and dreams you currently have. Notice how they feel and look. It's as if you can sense the emotions that they are feeling, the accomplishments they've achieved. Notice how that feels within you. See them smiling and waving at you as you smile and wave back. And now, as you turn your awareness to the right, to path number 5, you see the version of you that's gone way above and beyond all the changes, all the goals that you had in mind. Their success is way beyond anything you had yet imagined. Take a moment to see what that looks like. What have they done? What is their appearance like? Tune into how they feel and let yourself feel their emotions. They smile and wave at you as you smile and wave back. And as you look at all 5 of these versions of you, all smiling and waving, you know in your heart which path you desire to follow. And you happily walk down the path towards the version of you you most desire to be right now. See yourself standing before this version of you. And as soon as you are face to face, all the other paths just melt away. It is just you and this desired version of you, the person you most want to be. Look into their eyes. Allow your heart to connect to their heart. Tune in to a confidence in their eyes. There's a confidence and a wisdom of knowing who they are. Tune into your heart as it connects to theirs. Feel how it feels to be them. What accomplishments have they achieved? What material objects do they have? How fulfilled are they in love, in their financial life, and in terms of their physical health? Feel all of these aspects and imagine your body merging with theirs, becoming who they are, aligning fully with this desired version of yourself. If this is what you desire yourself to be, this is who you truly are. Take a deep breath into this knowing. Let your stomach fully expand and hold your breath at the top. Let the feeling of being this version of you build within you. And as it feels right to you, exhale with a sigh. This is your birthright. Everywhere you go throughout the rest of the day, remind yourself of this feeling yourself aligned with the truest version of you, your most desired version of you, who you truly are, and who you truly want to be. And take this feeling with you everywhere you go, as you slowly bring your awareness back to the room around you, opening your eyes whenever you are ready.
How are we doing? Are you guys okay? So for me, but can you feel that person, right? And can you see how when you feel like that person, your decisions will be different as you go throughout your day? And if you can feel those feelings more often, feel that person that you want to become, then things just kind of, they start to fall into place because you act different, you do things different when you have those feelings. I just really love and then I thought it was interesting, you have your 5 paths and usually you think, oh, I just went down the 5th path, right? But for me, I just went down the 1st path because I'm there's just this one thing that I'm trying to overcome. And if I could overcome that, I know it will open up so many things. So anyway, it's really interesting. So I really do. Meditation is something that is newer to me, but it's something that I'm finding in my life is really valuable because, feeling those feelings is so important. So now we're going to move on to the fun part, and I'm going to introduce you to Sean, who's the fun one. You guys are going to enjoy him. So we're going to talk now about, let's see, it's not advancing.
Sometimes it goes to sleep.
We're going to talk about the imagination part, right? And vision boards and visualizing and all that really fun stuff. It's something that Sean and I have done for a really long time, and he has some really fun stories about it. So.
Hey, and it's not like what Stacy did is not important, right? But I will tell you, when I got involved with, building a business, I was 22 years old and I was young. And so a lot of you may go, hey, yeah, that's kind of me. I'm younger in my industry or younger, just starting out, or, I don't have a lot of experience. It's how do I go out and do this? And even, what was your name? Tori, you were successful at something else. Now you're starting something new. And so there's all these same things that you had way back when. Remember when you started the Army, you were like, holy crap, how do I do this? It's some of the same emotions, right? And one thing that I realized is everybody has their own tool or weapon. And the problem is a lot of us don't know what that is. And, I think one realization that I got from this 10 minutes, and I will tell you, it's actually uncomfortable for me to listen. Stacy has trained me to listen because she'll just put it on at nighttime. And I'm I got to listen to it because I'm in the same bed. But normally I probably wouldn't listen to it, but I have come to love it, that it's you can actually take yourself somewhere else and get inside your own mind. And, it's interesting because we don't even know ourselves. We don't even know, we haven't even kind of talked to our subconscious mind and said, okay, what do you actually want? And why are we doing what we're doing? That kind of sounds weird because it kind of sounds like I'm talking to myself, but I'm just saying, it's sometimes you got to find out how to motivate yourself. And so that may be through kind of what Stacy was talking about, meditation. I know a lot of people that I also go, hey, you know what? I work my guts out. And then for 1 hour each day, I go for a walk to totally clear my mind. And for her, it was a lot of vision, or what did Trish do? She would talk through instead of visualizing, she would talk through those self-talk, and she would take that hour break during the day And that was her tool to succeed, right? For me, it was a little different. I'm more like the hammer. Like that actually works for me. And I'm not saying that I'm not emotional. I'm actually very emotional. Matter of fact, when Stacy said, talked about like the baseball player, you know, like I actually kind of get a little teary, like kind of emotional, like, holy crap, man, like that's a difference. Like it made a difference in his life and other people's lives. And that, you know, that kind of like, you can tell that like, I'm kind of an emotional guy, but you got to find your, you got to find your tool. You got to find what brings the energy out. Like, and one thing that I found is when I started my own business and when I was 22 years old, I thought, man, this is going to be really simple. This guy's really successful. He's going to teach me. I'm going to be successful. You know, and for me, it was like kind of like I'm waking up, bam, let's get this crap going, you know, I'm going to make this happen. But what I realized is like, okay, I don't have all the skills. I don't even know. I'm totally motivated. I want to make this happen. I have the desire. I just don't know how. And so I got to learn the skills, right? And one experience that I had kind of changed things for me. And when I was young in high school, I actually boxed with my brother-in-law. Who was a professional boxer. He was ranked in the top 10 in the world as featherweight. And everybody would always want to come and box him, you know, and they'd get the bell rung or knocked out, you know, and then, but he was always looking for people to box with him. And I was like, hey man, I'll, you know, yeah, I can do this. And I actually, I was pretty proud of myself. Never knocked out, you know, a lot of bloody noses, a lot of bell rungs, and you know, to some degree. But there was a certain point when I started my business, I was like, man, one of the persons I should really go and talk to is my trainer or his trainer, a professional trainer. You know, I thought, man, this is a great contact. I'm going to go talk to this person about this business idea. And man, he's going to be like such a huge connection to all over the world. You know, this could be huge. And so I went in and I had a chat with him. And in my mind, like I visualized something freaking amazing. Like this was going to be like the culmination of like my success, right? But 30 minutes later, I was sitting in my car and I was sobbing. like that did not freaking go the way that I thought. And maybe it was like the sobbing because I didn't go the way that I thought, or it was just like, hey, listen, this is not going to happen this way. You got to change your mind. You got to change your mental mindset. You got to change something. But what I realized is it's kind of like think, feel, and imagine. But what I felt is instead of listening to something, I had to find a feeling or an emotion that was so strong that would break through anything to help me accomplish my goals, right? There it was, crying literally crying like I'm totally rejected. I probably will never succeed. You know, like all those things that go through your mind. You're like, holy crap, like maybe this isn't that good. Like maybe this and this and that. All these doubts come into my mind, crying, you know, because of this rejection. And then just a feeling came to me, just deep down inside. And I said, you know, I will not let this beat me down. I will succeed. You know, no matter what, I will succeed. I will prove everyone wrong. And it doesn't matter if I will do 10 times more than anyone else. I'm going to succeed. And I'm going to remember this feeling, this rejection, this frustration, this unhappiness. And anytime I feel like, hey, I got to succeed, I'll remember this gut-wrenching, like nasty taste in my mouth. And that was kind of like, it's like an opposite of what a lot of people do. They go, hey, let me feel the dreamy stuff. For me, I just feel the gut ache. Like, I don't want that. You know, I don't care what people say. I'm going to go out and do I'm going to live my life. I'm going to tell my mind what it needs to do. And so one thing that I found is the visual boards, but I'm very visual, but it's taking that visual to emotion, right? And so how do I go? Yeah, I'm just going to go right here, probably to the next. So we did a class called like a life cycle plan. So it's a 2-day training. And we had this period of time where we would like cut out all these little, and it was actually after a whole day of training, and you're like mentally totally tapped out. Your responsibility is to like cut out all these things when you're already tapped out and you got to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and you got to cut all these things out and then you got to present it to your people in your group, right? And it's like an emotional, like, woo, thing, because you're like, this is my life. This is what I want to accomplish. This is like that gut feeling like, oh man, that guy's never going to tell me I'm not going to do this because I'm going to freaking make this happen. That type of stuff. Like you're cutting crap out and you're like crying and you're like, yeah, like this is going to happen. You're like shaking, like this is freaking happening, type of thing. And so like, I just kind of found stuff in some magazines. So I found a couple things to see here. I'm not going to go through everything, but there was a couple things in this that jumps out. One thing I saw is there was a car program in this company. I was like, man, I want to have that car. Like literally, I was buying a $300 car before, like as a college student. I had no money, but for some reason I thought, I'm going to have a BMW. I want a BMW. And so I set a goal, 1994, 23 years old. By the time I turn 24, I'll have a BMW. That is the most ridiculous thing that anyone, like, if they knew me, they'd be like, you're insane. That's a ridiculous goal. Set a normal goal. Yeah. So it wasn't just a BMW. Yeah. So actually, 7 days before I turned 24 years old, that was the car I bought. There was only 3 in the nation like it. It had like tan leather interior. It was great. And this is actually way out east. I picked it up and flew out to Washington, D.C. I was 24 years old, bought this freaking car and drove it home. And that was probably not the best idea. It was 5,000 miles on that car. But it was but you know what? That made me feel amazing, right? And so if we go back, let's just go back here to this one right here. I actually I went to a BMW dealership. I trimmed out all the pictures of the interior in my crappy car. And I put those pictures in the dashboard. Like right when I'm driving down the road, I'm like thinking about that guy telling me no. It's like freaking up yours. And I'm not driving and I'm looking at that nice interior past the interior that I was driving, right? It's like motivated me, man. It's like, this is going to happen. But I had to put some action into it. But that's like the think, feel, but that helped me feel like the emotion, the feeling, okay, man, I would much rather be driving in something like this. But just imagine 1 year later, when I went to that dealership and I jumped in that car, the first mile I drove down the road was 0 miles. Brand new BMW M3. And I was like, this happened. I can do anything I want. I reprogrammed my mind. I can have anything I want. I just have to simply just put it on a piece of paper and visualize it. It will happen. Right? And that's all it is. And so a lot of our stuff, we put the BMW, we had that. And there's tons of stuff, like all the kinds of little trips. This is Stacy's, one of Stacy's. She put like a little boat on here. We got the boat. Look, interesting surfing. We had some really interesting experiences here where we've actually put little items and little pictures of things and visualized and let those, just like in your office, or you're putting it in front of yourself on a daily basis, looking at that and saying, no, this is what I want. This is what I want to accomplish. I don't want to feel the gut, the unsuccessful feeling. I want to have the success. I want to have the benefits. I want to have these things in my life. And a lot of these things aren't maybe tangible things. They may be just feelings or things about your family or
that's the thing, like,
things that
when you
can
go
make a
back
difference.
And you look at your old vision boards, like it just creates a feeling.
I know. Yeah. Some things connect to you.
Yeah.
And some are like, hey, you know what? That's actually not necessarily my goal.
But we went on
But
that
it developed,
exact
yeah.
ship, that little cruise ship.
Yeah, Exactly. We actually went to, remember that we went to one of our vision boards. Well, I'll go back just for a second. But on one of our vision boards, we went to a resort. And we were like, man, this really looks familiar. And we got home and the same exact resort picture was carved out of a magazine. The same resort we went to, we didn't realize it was the same resort that was actually on our life cycle plan. It's amazing. So like visualize, feel, and then make it happen. And but visualizing things, putting things, however you get to the point where you're like listening to somebody talk and walk you through that. If you're audibly going through the words and the phrases, and maybe taking a walk and clearing your mind. If it's in the morning, if it's at night, if it's like something, hey, visual, like putting things in front of you and like imagining good feelings, not bad feelings. Whatever works for you, you got to find that what that works. What works for you. So anyway, so this is kind of a couple. You want to just come up?
Yeah, we just have like 1 minute.
Yeah.
So
So
we just kind of wanted to give you some tips on building your own vision boards because they're so much easier to do now. You don't have to go get a bunch of magazines.
Yeah. Which was kind of a bummer.
So on these ones, what we do, and I'll be really brief. So there's kind of a process that we take. So I have 10 goals that I've set for myself for the year, right? And they're my affirmations that I write every morning. It's like, right now I'm having some back issues, right? So my affirmation is I am proactively healing my body. I am healthy, I am free. You know what I mean? So there's like all these, like, we want to have a trip to, we have an amazing trip to Greece this year. We have an amazing trip to Lake Powell. I really want a new Tesla this year. Like, I have this beautiful Tesla. I'm so excited about it. So I have these
Everything's
10
in the present.
things, right? So I have these 10 things that I write down every single day. And then we made just like a bucket list of things that we want to do in our life. And then we went through those 10 things, we went through the bucket list and we chose the things that we really wanted to focus on for this year. And that's where this came from. So just different pictures that we found. And the thing that's really cool right now is there's an app. Have you guys used Canva? There's an app called Canva, and you just go in and you make a poster and you just design it, right? You just put it wherever you want and you hit print and they send you a poster. Like, it's so easy.
Although I will tell you, there was like an emotional feeling to go and finding magazines and then have to find all the pictures. That was
But this is fun though, because you can have
this is really fun because exactly
what you want. But already we're like on our way to accomplishing some of the goals. We have our trip to Greece planned. We have our trip to Lake Powell planned.
Pretty much we focus on Stacy's first.
Gotta
get that
yes, so pretty much.
Then secondary.
Anyway, but I just wanted to end. You guys can tell, I'm sure that we feel really passionate about these things. We feel like we've built a life off of these principles. And there's a quote I like: our life is a masterpiece because we created it that way. And I really do believe that you can create your life. I just want to end with this quote. It's one of my very favorite quotes. It says, "Be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. Talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet. Make all your friends feel there is something in them. Look at the sunny side of everything. Think only of the best, work only for the best, and expect only the best. Be as enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own. Forget the mistakes of the past and press on to the greater achievements of the future. Give everyone a smile. Spend so much time improving yourself that you have no time left to criticize others. Be too big for worry and too noble for anger."
That's a really good one.
So anyway, that's what we'll leave you guys with today.
Wow. Stand up after that.
Hopefully it gets you off on the right foot today.
No, that was amazing.
It's a February, get you started.
Motivational.
Yeah, yeah. I could use that in
It's a
January.
it's a 10-month year.
Yeah.
Start over.
That's
Good. I love your guys' energy. That's why I wanted to be here in person for this. Sorry, you guys are on Zoom. You probably still got some good value out of that. Hopefully, you heard the audio on the video. I didn't even check. They were like going, what are they
You're
doing?
doing all right.
The screen's not even changing. This visualization stuff works. You know, Lynn and I are living in the house that we picked out in our early 20s. When we were like minimum wage, back then it was like $3.35 an hour. Young kids. And had nothing, but we had dreams. We were starting a business. We were investing in real estate. And we're like, well, someday, literally. And then once we moved in, this is kind of the cool part. I was in the backyard on this hill that we have, looking back at the house. And I had this realization that I drew that house when I was younger. I can't find the picture, but it was just like plain as day. The roof pitch, the line where the garage is, the windows, everything. It was just like I could see myself I didn't cut magazines out, but I used to draw when I was younger. And it's just like, and so we're living the dream. So that was awesome. Thank you so much.